personally. I love the social part of the sport more than I do like it. I like to be a ringside. I like to present the belt. I like to write the rules. I like all this controversy part of the boxing and part of the nature of boxing. When you take a decision, nobody likes it. I mean, this opposition that you take from everybody. Um, the enter and the super champion, all of that in some way, I can deal with it. But the social part is what drives me,
Yeah.
and that's what to propose about all this. um, we are not a big what do you call group in boxing. With it's a very small. Is that the word niche? Like what do you call it when it's like small group of in sports? I don't know.
A niche, right?
Yeah, niche, right? Okay, so we're a small niche, and out of it, we at least it's like putting something to society, and that's what takes me. As I was talking to you, I like the amateurs program, but I would like to do it coordinated with the maximum institution for it, which is AIBA. That's the reason of my relationship with AIBA is trying to find some kind of joint venture or cooperational agreement where we can, well, all sanctioning bodies. I'm not being selfish about it. I just think, I mean, we heard the approach, we heard everything that was happening, but perhaps they were not communicating in the way it was. But this is, this is what it is, and I seen all this kid develop from so many years, being better and giving an opportunity to people. There are always the bad cases, but we're a small sport compared to others, and but we have a lot of power to make a difference, and that's basically what my politics are going to be, some kind rooted, in this new year. Having kind of quiet regarding boxing the last 6 months. That's related to my grief, my pain. Emotionally, it's difficult. Especially with the city where we're talking from. I guess I can mention it. It's Orlando. Reason I'm here, it's I'm starting to draft my plans for next year. Will be presented between January and February. Touched me back because, as I told you, the many childhood memories here with my father, and those child memories, I guess like 40% involve boxing. Um, I used to be that kid that when his father was on TV for supervising a fight in big networks, national networks. I just don't remember which one. It was NBC, ABC. I just don't remember which one it was. But I remember the fights. I used to do the Betamax. I will sound for young kids. I will sound like a dinosaur, but but I'm not. I guess being 46 not so bad. Almost 46. I'm December 25th. I'm only 46. I used to tape everything. Besides, I used to do my own notes of the fights. So I want to see if I can. One of the first fights I did that as a homework was Ray Boom Boom Mancini for the WC title against Alexis Arguello when he was stopped by Arguello 11, 12. I just don't remember the round exactly. I just remember his head going back. you know, and there was a special meaning for Boom Boom because we visited him at Youngstown, Ohio,
Yeah.
and those days I was living in Toledo, Ohio. And Ray, if you're gonna put this part of an interview, I know he will be listening somehow. He will recall you that. So those were my idols, and my idols since I was a kid. And I really, while Arguello was a Latino, I had some kind of crush with, with Boom Boom because I was felt like him. He says, "Look, I'm not big enough to play football, and I'm in like in the middle size. The only thing I can do is boxing." Here we came in lightweight, and then his relationship with his father became some kind of something that is there. I mean, it went to inside of my heart right immediately. That the relationship with Lenny, in the corner, and when I met him, of course, it was like, wow, it was like one of the most, most happiest moment. Uh, Not only him, those era, but that's something that comes out to me, that pops out of it, and going back to what I'm looking at here, it's just we'll come back this. politics. Everybody, it's going to involve reducing the titles, trying to get one champion per division. The concept will not be eliminated because sometimes, there's, believe it or not, and against popularity, sometimes there's a lot of legal threats that affect the organization, and sometimes you got to protect your interests as well as everybody would do. And having a super champion, interim champion, sometimes it's an exit to deal with some problems, But whenever they exist, they're gonna be time limited. That's one thing I can just tell the boxing world that my other message regarding that, despite I believe interim's title helps, small boxers are not recognized yet by big networks. There's a huge gap between the guy who is recognized or supported by backup financially by a strong promoter and that guy that comes from Latin America or Asia, Africa that doesn't have that support. There's a big gap that we got to work on it. I don't know which way we have to be now. I thought interns would do good. Perhaps they had a different name or not, but at the end, I just listened. Whatever you want to call it, you call it silver, you want to call it whatever you want. I'm just analyzing with WBC with all my respect because it's a different. There's a different proposal between the silver and the intern. But whatever it happens, I somehow we felt it helped officials, it helped small promoters, it helped but seems not popular. So I'm not going to go against boxing fans because they're part of this, and we'll find a way about it. We'll find a way different how between regional champions, whatever it is. We just figure that out. But we're taking that out, so aligning to whatever proposals that we have as a WBA team. I will try to consolidate ourselves more in politically. We will try to approach a little bit more the United States, which I have to have an anecdote here because going back to what it was when my father ran as president, and where the boxing commissions were involved in the sport. Just not like now we have the ABC, who meets alone and make their own ruling, and then they come back to their sanctioning body. That could work if they had some kind of input, at least register in the sanctioning body. When you want to make change the sport internationally, and I say this because perhaps 60 or 70% of boxing international from the states. If you look at it, I mean, just a round number I just came up with, just a ballpark figure. If you look at it, if you participate inside these organizations, you're going to be able to make real changes. I mean, and you're not going to stop it only wherever your interests are. If you really want to make it different, at the end of the day, you have all the boxers, foreigners trying to come into the states. Why not get involved? As in the past. That's one thing I believe it's going to be kind of part of my approach to H1 influential boxing commission and to the ABC. Because I think working together in unity is the only thing that can work us out. Boxing is already a lot of anarchy around us. Actually, it's one of the sports when regular people come walking to you and said, "Oh, who is the lightweight champion?" And you tell, "Oh, we got 4," and they get confused. So that's one thing we got to address, which I believe Mauricio Suleiman, my friend, had a good idea, trying to have all sanctioning bodies working all together. But then, we go back to the legal side of it. Despite it's a sport, it's a right to earn a living for many boxers. And if you have one only champion, among the 4, this champion will end up fighting, mandatories, back-to-back mandatories from one side to the other, and it will never end. It will be an endless period of it. And that's one thing that's a big question mark, we got to answer, and that has to be part of whatever I believe about the boxing environment is.
Yeah.
Because people want one champion, but at the end, once again, I'm going to stop it. I'm still going to stop making multiple champions inside my organization, so there's going to be only one recognized about it. But still, you got another 3 to deal with. You got the 4th, and then where are we heading with this? And then we were talking previously, what will happen if IBA will have a world champion as well? So it's going to be 5, and believe it or not, as I told you, they have legitimacy and they have a lot of strengths. Politically, just being part of the International Olympic Committee, they have a lot to develop, of course, but that's one thing we got to look at. And then, still not clear where what's the target, between the AIBA, which Olympic champion, and the professional. It seems like there's not a barrier these days. You gotta adapt to that. Um, what else? I will. As I told you before, I like the clean boxing program. I think it's helping. It's an added value to the sport, and I congratulate Mauricio Sulaiman and the whole WBC for it. I think we will have to find a way to work it together. I think it helps a lot the promotions. It helps a lot when you're out of competition, when things really happen. I know some fights fell off. Steve Byrne and Povetkin fell off because of it just recently before before starting. I heard it's gonna Povetkin fight's gonna still happen or not, but I do think it makes a better it justifies what the sport is. Equal level, equal rights in the ring for everybody. And
You get the same situation with Lucas Brown, right?
yes, unfortunately with Lucas Brown,
And WBA has no tolerance policy, right? So.
well, yes, that's correct.
And
We don't have no tolerance policy. That's the way it was. Um, I just don't know. Everybody knows that we settled the first time when we were sued by Brownie's side. Um, I cannot judge that as a good or a bad decision. It's going to sound ironic, and maybe people won't believe it, but I was against that decision. I would rather went to court because I'm the one who saw, I'm the ones who believe it's no tolerance. Otherwise we cannot work with it unless we have a program like the clean boxing program somehow. And despite I'm the president and I signed the settlement and everything else, we're a collegiate body at the end. And that's what the committee and the whole directorate wanted, and that's what happened. I just don't know if the facts in the past have given me, are giving me the reason of it or whatever happened. But now that Lucas unfortunately is out of it, it's to me it's sad. It's sad because we worked hard with regional recognition to try to get Lucas, a world title shot. He had the world title shot. He was knocked down. He overcame that knockdown and he knocked a guy out in this, a guy out in a different atmosphere, in that Brosnan fight. He came back, then that positive result, let's say that decision gave him the benefit of the doubt. But now that what happened recently, it took him out of a fight again, and he was already notified by the WBA that he was withdrawing his ranking, temporary until he can prove to Nevada if he's going to open the FTE samples. But as I told in the past, recently, as I told boxing, it's sport where activity, age, it's a main factor. As old as you get, you lose your faculties to fight. So we cannot stall divisions for any reason, and we have other legal commitments, like we have commitment with Okendo, with Briggs and Ustinov at this point. The committee will decide soon. I think by Monday or Tuesday, which way who will fill out that regular title now that Brownie's out of the way.
And Klitschko's gonna fight also, right? That fight's gonna be recognized.
Klitschko. What's decided there was the Super Championship was gonna be fight by Anthony Joshua and Vladimir Klitschko, which is a fight good fight for the public. And this regular is gonna be filled out, who's gonna become the mandatory for. Well, I'm sorry. Let me go back to my decision. The decision is the following: Joshua will fight Klitschko. The winner will have to face Ortiz. That's in that side. That's where we're working on that side.
So Ortiz doesn't have any belt right now, right?
Yeah, no. He relinquished at the end. We heard his side. They were involved in a purse bid. They signed a purse bid, and they signed a contract with purse bid, but he went on and did a different fight. There was an pending issue regarding the anti-doping in Russia. They didn't agree on which lab was going to do it. If it was going to be BADA or USADA, whatever. They didn't agree on it. He went on the fight. We sent him letters that he couldn't do it without the permit. Then he asked for the permit. Then the outcome was he decided to relinquish, and we decided to give him a chance to the winner because I think he's legitimate to fight with it. While the situation stretched up, when Okendo had to fight, I'm sorry, Brownie had to fight Briggs. Now Brownie's out now, so now it's left. It's Briggs, Ustinov, and Okendo. So we're trying to solve who goes first. But whoever is left out of the formula will be the mandatory for that one. Then
Mm-hmm.
they will clear out. I have to set deadlines between the winner of Joshua, Klitschko, and Ortiz. So it's going to take the heavyweight division. It's going to take a little bit more time than I expected to be cleaned out. And it might be unpopular, but that's the way boxers are leaving. And the other side they got Wilder, and IBF and BA will be already. Well, look what's happening with the BC now with Steve Byrne, and I guess Steve Byrne will have to fight another guy for the interim title if it's going to happen or not.
Yeah, or they might. I don't know if they're going to give it to him or.
Yeah, because that's the situation, and the boxers necessarily need belts
Yeah.
because needs a sanctioning body because that's the way they can increase their money out of their work. That's the way they can have a better value in the market and do it yes or no. That's one thing. It's very difficult to explain to your readers. you know, I know I like to read the forums. I would read the forums. I like the respectful ones, by the way, because when you just go it because you're against it without reasoning, I don't like it. Just to let your readers that I do read everything that they put. Sometimes I laugh, sometimes I get angry, but you have some guys that that write respectful things,
Yeah.
but they just don't agree with it, But in life, you have to have some kind of tolerance, They have to you have to be empathy. You got to be the two sides to understand it. And the thing is, we represent a bunch of guys who needs to earn money. I mean,
Yeah.
and it's not like perhaps you and I that have a career, or your readers that have a career. I mean, this is a one-time opportunity for them, and they have to stretch out as much as possibilities they have. And if they can get a title, get more money, they're not going to care if you hate it or not.
Yeah.
I mean, and who is the WBA to oppose that? That he's going to be paid better if he has a belt. But as I told you, there's going to be only one belt. And I think I can proudly say that we have it in minimum, we have it in super flyweight, we have it in lightweight, we have it in super lightweight, we have it in light flyweight. I mean, and flyweight we already order, and I have to clean up. I think middleweight. I'm trying to work it out. A
That's,
couple of divisions. It's a matter of whatever. And then going back to this situation about how weak TV networks outside America are becoming. You take Matchroom and Sky,
yeah.
and then you leave. There's few opportunity for people out there.
Mm-hmm.
There are not too many TVs invested in money. You take Mexico out, which Mexico it's a good question because I would like to make this very clear. In Mexico, we try to do the less we can do because we respect the WBC. Headquarters are there, and whatever fights we're gonna have there, we usually try to get an agreement with Mr. Suleiman about it. Whenever an opportunity or a fight can happen in Mexico, because that's another big market. And you take Matchroom out. I mean, Germany. It's incredible the way they were in 2006, 10 years after this.
Yeah, it just fell apart.
And they were strong. They were really, really, really strong. And then, listen, England, the whole UK, you have Frank Warren and you have Eddie Hearn Matchroom doing a very, very good job. So Japan used to be a good market. It's not anymore. They're continents like Australia, which I thought it was going to be good, but haven't been able to somehow develop. But somehow we're still there. Boxing still all around the world, but you can't deny that we're the focus, where the money is in the States at the end. Vegas, or the big networks out of here that make the difference. So that's one of the things we're dealing in this atmosphere. I would like to be to have harmony in the sport, which is very difficult because nature doesn't allow it sometimes. But I think I think we do a good job. You fans, everybody that's involved in the official, doesn't matter. We sometimes, we have our own flaws, but at the end of the day, I think if you have passion for what you do, and honestly, whoever is in boxing, whoever touches the sport, it is funny because when it comes to your blood, you can never take you out of the sports. No way. I mean, it's a sport that has this enter barrier so low, but the exit barrier is so high. It's impossible to get out. I mean, you get
Yeah.
addicted to the sport for some reason, and this is what is important about all my colleagues, Daryl People, Francisco Valcarcel, and I think Mauricio. We all passion. We have our difference, and that way it's easy for us to sit down and just iron those those wrinkles sometimes. And but at the end, we all have passion for what we do, and we try to do the best we can.